the jungles of South America, is this an unknown ape? In the forests of the Congo, how huge was this snake which rose up and menaced a helicopter? In Mozambique, could this be an unknown species of big cat? In the Pacific, did this man see the legendary dragon of New Guinea? Did the mammoth and the supposedly extinct creatures of the Ice Age really all die out? Mysteries from the Files of Arthur C. Clarke, author of 2001 and inventor of the communication satellite. Now in Sri Lanka, after a lifetime of science, space and writing, he contemplates the mysteries of this and other worlds.
Even in this small island, there are reports of strange animals not yet positively identified. The horned jackal and the devil bird with its hideous strangled shriek. Yet this jungle, even though it stretches as far as the eye can see, is nothing compared with the forests which cover much of Africa and South America. There's room for a whole zoo full of unknown animals there. And looking at this, I'm reminded of a riddle posed by an old philosopher. What is the most cunning of all the animals? That which no man has yet seen.
In downtown Chicago, the university's professor of biology on a shopping expedition.
What is all of this you have?
Well, a jungle machete, a jungle hammock, some medical supplies for the tropics, and a backpack.
Where are you off to with it?
Well, you may not believe this. We're off to Africa to look for dinosaurs.
For it's in the Congo that Professor Roy Mackal and his colleague, explorer James Powell, really believe, from many reports, that there may exist a living dinosaur, or something like it.
The animal is described as being as big as an elephant, or at least as big as a hippopotamus. It has a long head and neck and a long tail. It has feet that are like a hippopotamus, but it has 3 claws on each of these feet. Every kind of animal that we can think of that is alive today doesn't fit this picture. The closest it comes to, and amazing as this may seem, is a dinosaur that is extinct perhaps 65 to 70 million years.
It does have an almost perfect resemblance to certain types of dinosaurs, particularly the 3-clawed footprint. That's almost the trademark of certain long-necked dinosaurs. What really got me onto this was in 1976, I had a grant from the Explorers Club in New York to study rainforest crocodiles in the Gabon, which is a country immediately to the west of Congo. And since I had read about these reports, I decided to see if I could come across any similar information. So among the Fang tribesmen, I tried a little, you might say, flashcard test. I first of all showed them pictures of 5 animals which are reasonably common in the Gabon jungles. And in each case I would say, can you recognize this animal? What is it? He says, sure, of course, that's an elephant, that's a gorilla, that's a leopard, etc. These things live around here in the jungle. We know them. Then just as a control test, I showed him a picture of a bear. Now there are no bear in Africa so far as we know. And I said, do you know that animal? He said, no, we've never seen this. That animal will not live around here. Then, just matter-of-factly, I showed him this. It's a picture of a diplodocus from a children's book on dinosaurs. I said, do you know that animal? And in several different villages, representing at least 2 different cultural groups, I would get consistent answers, yes, that's the Nyamala. We know that animal. It lives back in the deep lakes, deep in the jungles.
Well, the evidence is strong enough that there seems to be some strange animal in this Congo. And if it's a dinosaur, it would be interesting enough for us to leave Chicago, the bright lights, the ghost of Mayor Daley, and go to the Congo.
Thus inspired, Chicago's Congo Expedition 1980 equips itself for the unknown.
Well, since the hammock works, James, I think I'll try on this mosquito hat. It won't keep out any mosquitoes, but let's see if it keeps out the snowflakes today.
Oh, that is great. For even original.
It feels warmer already. I don't feel any snowflakes, so it must work on mosquitoes, too. Somehow it doesn't look like the picture, does it?
Well, that may sound a little crazy, and later we'll see what happened to them.
Meanwhile, in the winter gloom of Kennedy Airport, the two intrepid dinosaur hunters return from their quest in the Congo.
This expedition into the Congo was the most difficult thing that we've ever done, but it was well worth it.
It was both the best and the worst that I've been on. In the sense, it was the worst in terms of the difficulties encountered, but it's the most exciting in the results of any of the African things I've been on.
I remember walking through muck, slipping into slime up to my ankles, up to my waist at times. I remember the complete exhaustion every half an hour. When you couldn't get another breath of fresh air, you couldn't take another step. We were looking for eyewitness observers, and we gradually began to zero in on the geographical part of this area where eyewitness observers were concentrated. And using that technique, we were able to come to the center of the reports, to a place where actually the animals are alleged to be. They told us about how, about 1959, 3 of these animals, possibly 2, had been coming into Lac Telly. And this had disturbed the fishing of the pygmies. So the pygmies decided they're going to stop this and started to drive stakes in across the opening into the lake. This prevented the animals from coming in, but one was while it was attempting to get through the stakes, was speared by the pygmies. They proceeded to kill the animal and cut it up into slices. The report from the observer was that it took forever because of the long tail and the long neck. They described it as being about 30 feet long, with a head and neck 2 to 3 meters long, some 6 to 9 feet, looking much like a large snake, but attached to a thick body.
What was maddening about it was that at Adipena, we were, I would say, about 25 airline miles from Lac Telly, which is one of the places where there might conceivably still be living specimens of this creature. We were unable to reach the lake because it would have taken from 2 to 3 days to get into the lake, a comparable amount of time to march out, and we would have wanted to stay, sometime at the lake. And we would not have had time to get out of the country before our visas expired.
As we went along and gathered this information, I became more and more convinced that we are dealing with a real animal. Perhaps extinct in a very recent past, but still a real animal. Yet if we believe what the Congolese and the pygmies told us, the animals are still alive today in certain parts of the Bai River, which is a tributary of the Likwala, perhaps even in the Likwala, and perhaps Lake Telly. We conclude that there is indeed a real animal, and that this animal is a species which is unknown to science in a living form.
So this case remains not proven. But if our exhausted heroes had been able to get their visas extended, they might have found what they were looking for. I think we've given enough evidence to suggest that very large, strange, and possibly amazing creatures may still exist in the remote places of this world. But while they're protected by jungles and swamps and various African bureaucracies, they may be safe from detection for a long time to come.